Dave Rubin is a former leftist, I guess, who now voted Trump and I guess is like kind of friends with Don Jr. And Dave Rubin, known to some of you as, a cultural critic or an arbiter of ideas, he said yesterday or the day before that the unvaccinated are now being treated like the Jews right before the Holocaust, except that there aren't yet gas chambers. And he's referring to the protests in Canada and the truckers and this entire thing. Now, there are people who are going to say, wow, Dave Rubin is Jewish, so we should be listening to what he says about the Holocaust because he's Jewish. No, what he's saying is just wrong. And we should be critically analyzing what he says. And let's take a look at the video clip. And this is, again, it's the same reactionary kind of fear porn that we talked about just minutes ago.
I just said to my guys as we were playing this, it's truly incredible watching these people flip the story and how they reverse everything they say about one thing when it's their guys doing it versus how they say it when it's the other guys doing it. First off, I just want to say something very, very clearly here.
Please.
I lost family members on both sides of the Holocaust, okay? I grew up around Holocaust survivors.
Now, you guys understand, this is, in a sense, identity politics. I don't want to belabor this point, but I don't want to miss it. They love to say identity politics is toxic. Anytime anyone says, as a woman of color, I believe, or as a, as a trans black person, I believe, they say that's terrible. That's identity politics. Rubin is doing it here. He's about to give us his view that the unvaccinated are being treated like Jews before the Holocaust. And he tells us, I lost family in the Holocaust. He's playing identity politics. He's using his identity to make us believe that he is more trustworthy in his opinion when they decry that very mechanism when they perceive the left is doing it. Do not miss this key point. They're against identity politics except when they do it.
I'm well-versed in what the Holocaust was and what the demonization of people is. Although the guy who was interviewed there, and by the way, great cherry picking on that Daily Show, and then they cherry pick that on the Daily Show. And then, of course, they throw that to CNN because they're all in on it together. I believe they're both owned by Viacom. It's just one big circle jerk.
So there's big conspiracy there, of course.
Regardless of what the guy said, whether you think he said it in a butchered way or he shouldn't say it or something like that, the way something like the Holocaust starts is you otherize people, right? You keep otherizing them. You say, oh, you can't be part of the economy. You can't own a store. You can't do this. We're going to demonize you. You're diseased. So it is not a giant leap, okay? It really is not, and I don't care how much hate I get for this. It is not a giant leap after 2 years of demonizing certain people who wanted choice, medical choice, and choice used to be thought of as a good thing, to compare them to the Jews before the Holocaust. It's not a perfectly symmetrical situation.
No.
Right? There aren't gas chambers in Canada yet. Okay, so it's not perfect.
There is no analogy to the Holocaust or the pre-Holocaust era in Europe when people just are told to get vaccinated. First of all, remember that what he deliberately or out of ignorance ignores here is that the Holocaust was based on the reality that Jews were fundamentally, pick your word, right? Inferior, unclean, disease-ridden, demonic, satanic, whatever, fundamentally at a core level. What's going on with the unvaccinated is just like, hey, we think they're making kind of a dumb choice. There's nothing inherent about the unvaccinated. It's not by birth that these are. There's quite literally no analogy whatsoever. And this is if you want to play the identity game, Rubin says I would know about this because I'm Jewish. No, this is that much more gross because you're Jewish. And if you want to be accurate, the way the Holocaust started was straight up sort of like racism against Jews and extreme German nationalism. And of course, this type of nationalism is much more prevalent on the right in the United States than on the left. The last thing on this is it's always the fear of the slippery slope. There aren't gas chambers yet, but vaccine requirements point in that direction. It's a false slippery slope. false slippery slopes are hallmarks of reactionary thinking. Look, they keep telling us any vaccine mandates will lead to totalitarianism. But look at the history of vaccine mandates. In 1777, George Washington made the smallpox vaccine a requirement for soldiers. In 1809, Massachusetts put in the first vaccine mandate. In 1855, Massachusetts put in the first school vaccine mandate. In 1905, the U.S. Supreme Court decided in Jacobson v. Massachusetts, Cambridge, I believe it is, can require vaccines. In 1977, Childhood Immunization Initiative started requiring certain vaccines for schools. And it's never gone further than just sometimes we require vaccines. There's no concentration camps. There's no gas chambers. There's none of it. So be very skeptical when they use the idea of this is opening the door up to XYZ. Well, if that's the case, it's been more than 200 years since vaccines were first required in the United States. And it's not been a slippery slope. So all of this stuff, hallmarks of reactionary thinking, understand it, don't be tricked by it. Find me on Twitter at dpacman and let me know your reaction.